So before we begin, in case you're new to this channel, my name is Kaushal. I'm a writer, motivational speaker, and life coach. I specialize in Vedic astrology and a lot of other healing and self-knowledge modalities like graphology, numerology, kinesics, vastu, and management is actually what is my forte. And so I apply these cross-functional disciplines in understanding individuals and their spiritual journeys, relating them with their material existence and their material desires. Okay, so it's a very niche sort of a process that I have with respect to life coaching and the practice of Vedic astrology, and this channel is an attempt in that direction to bring all of this knowledge that I use in my life coaching process together and to share with you the unique techniques, the unique methodologies that can help you analyze your life purpose, your strengths, your weaknesses, your goals, make sense of your ambitions, your desires, your dreams, what you're supposed to let go of, your spiritual path, your spiritual journey. Okay? So in this series, what I am talking about in this video is one of the most important questions that we have in the area of Vedic astrology, debilitated Saturn. Now there's a lot of knowledge, there's a lot of noise, I'd say, about this particular topic out there on the internet. From Hindi speakers, English speakers, Indian, foreign astrologers, all over the place. But what I will try to do is I will try to cut through this noise to bring to you a perspective that you can actually employ to make sense of this placement in your chart or any chart, and make the necessary adjustments to work with this energy and make sense of the journey that comes with such a placement, what it represents in your life. Okay, so let's get started. Saturn represents everything that is a challenge in your life. Anything that is a challenge, everything that is a challenge in your life is Saturn. Why? Because Saturn is delays. Saturn is things not happening the way they're supposed to happen. Saturn is you needing to employ tools. Saturn is you needing to build a structure. Saturn is you needing to build a plan. Saturn is the area where you need to put in the hard work in your life to see results. And Saturn is the area where quite often, despite all the talents that you may have or the desires that you may have for excelling, Saturn is where the karma is that is going to make you work harder than you want to. But the beauty about Saturn is that Saturn always comes with a promise. Saturn never denies, Saturn only delays. And he delays because he wants you to realize the importance of that which you sometimes crave. He wants you to look at the spiritual meaning of whatever it is that you desire and relate it and make sense of it from the material exchange that is going to go into the manifestation of that desire. Okay? So when Saturn is in the first house, it naturally shows that you want to be a leader, that leadership is something that comes naturally to you. You are a hard worker. You work very hard. Sometimes too hard. Sometimes you're too critical of yourself. Sometimes you're too cynical. Sometimes you take on too much of the burdens in the team, in the organization, in the family, in society. So Saturn, whenever it is in Aries, the reason Saturn is debilitated here is Saturn is a planet. Saturn carries an energy that cannot be mastered just on your own. Yes, Saturn is described as a lonely planet in Vedic astrology, but that doesn't mean that that is exactly how you should be to navigate Saturn's energies. No, Saturn's irritation comes as a result of him being lonely. Okay, so there's a lot of symbolism attached here, but if you were to look at it from the perspective of the court of the grahas, where the sun is at the center, the sun is the king, Mercury is the prince, and Saturn is the planet that is furthest away in the solar system. Saturn is the opposite to the king. Saturn is the hard taskmaster. Saturn is the Saturn is the government employee. Saturn is the blue-collared worker. Saturn is the union leader. That is who Saturn is. And so he is lonely because when you look at it from a philosophical perspective, when you relate Vedic astrological analyses and interpretations with the reality of society, because these astrological interpretations have not just come about from another planet. They've not just been dropped. No, there's a reason behind this coding. There is a logic behind this coding that is Vedic astrology. And here the logic is Saturn is lonely because Saturn is representative of the energy of knowing what needs to be done, but not having enough resources to do it, not having enough support to do it, not being in a position of enough power to carry out that justice. That is why Saturn is described as a lonely planet, because you see everything that is wrong, you see everything that is that needs fixing, and yet there's nothing that you can do about it. So Saturn in Aries, the reason that it is considered a tough placement, a bad placement, is because it will put on you a lot of stress. It will put you through situations that you cannot talk about, that you cannot expect people to understand, that you cannot expect anybody to make sense of, because there is just too much to share. Okay? That is the aspect of Saturn in Aries, which is feared quite a bit, and that is why, whenever these traditional astrologers, they'll look at Saturn debilitated in a chart, they're like, oh, this person is going to have a bad life, hard life, this and that, all sorts of things. But that's not really true, because you look at the charts of immensely successful people, you will see they have Saturn in the ascendant. Virat Kohli, ex-India, cricket team captain and one of the greatest batsmen in the world right now, he has Saturn in his ascendant. You will find a lot of great people with Saturn in the ascendant. So Saturn in the ascendant carries a lot of energy of Saturn in Aries, because signs and houses, they kind of have a lot of the similar kind of energy. So a lot of people are able to excel with this energy, but still the negative side is always there, in that they inspire a lot of criticism, they inspire a lot of antagonism, they inspire a lot of mistrust, because Saturn in Aries has the tendency to do things, Saturnian things, in a way that is opposite to the agenda of Saturn. Okay? You cannot put it on your shoulders to bear the burden of the team to get them to victory. You cannot take it upon yourself to become a martyr in, winning deals for your company or your organization or your startup that need to be negotiated with multiple layers, with multiple people talking about different aspects. No, you can't do that. You need to work with people if you want to have the maximum impact on Saturnian things. So let's say you have Saturn in the first house. The opportunity for you, if you have Saturn in the first house, or anybody who has Saturn in the first house or Saturn in Aries, the opportunity for you here is to master that particular house and look at it from a spiritual perspective of the effort cleansing your karma. That is what you have to look at it from the perspective of. Don't look at it from the perspective, oh, I have Saturn bad here, he's going to give me trouble, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. No, it's all in your mind. Change your perspective, change the narrative. If you have Saturn in the first house, or if you have Saturn in Aries, let's say you have Saturn in Aries in the first house. Well, then that shows that the real opportunity for you in this lifetime is to work very hard on yourself until you reach a point where it's indisputable how great you are at what you do, how responsible you are, how exemplary your behavior is. The trick is to not fall into the negative connotations of this placement, which is, do not try to do things on your own. Do not run after credit. Do not claim, lay stake, do not stake claim on the power or on a position of power. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to be as humble as you can with this energy. Obviously, it's not going to come as naturally. You can be conscious of it, but it's not going to come as naturally. You're going to reach this realization after having gone through the negative experiences of Saturn being in such a placement, of you wanting to lead but not being given an opportunity to lead, of you wanting to take the kind of work that you would want to take up to be able to show your skills to the world, of wanting to get the kind of projects that you have the skills for but not getting them. Saturn in Aries has the energy of you working from a spiritual perspective. Wherever Saturn in Aries is in your chart, or if you have Saturn in the first house, in that particular area or in your life, the general theme is you must work and you must work and you must work without expectation, with the understanding that this is what is helping you cleanse your karma. Okay? And in the process of cleansing your karma, in the process of just conscious service, Saturn is going to reward you. Because that's the beauty of Saturn. Saturn never denies, Saturn only delays. Okay? So let's say you have Saturn in Aries in the 9th house. This can be potentially a very difficult placement. This is forming a Pitri dosha, first of all. So that is there. But then this is showing a person who is going to be frustrated with the amount of effort that goes into realizing their beliefs in society, in the world, in getting their beliefs, their ideals, their ideas, their philosophy to be accepted. Acceptance is going to be one of the biggest frustrations of this person who has Saturn in Aries in the 9th. In general, also this energy applies with Saturn in Aries. It's going to be tough. Maybe you're going to take many more years than you had planned to complete your higher education. Maybe you will take a long time to finish a book that you were deeply invested in. And by the time that book is released, you have lost all zeal, all interest, all sorts of anticipation. Okay? But the gift of Saturn is, if you have applied yourself to that area of your life, Saturn rewards you. For example, you worked for 15 years on a book that you wanted to release 13 years ago. And finally, when that book is out, you have zero expectations from that book, but that book is a hit. Or let's say, another example of Saturn in Aries in the 9th house would be, you have given 8 years to your PhD. By the time your PhD is completed, you have moved away from that field. You are no longer interested in that field. You're like, God damn it, I'm just going to complete this PhD. I'm going to go home and I'm going to probably start a resort or something. But as soon as that PhD is done, you become successful in leveling up in such a way. You have given proof of, or you have manifested such a unique philosophy, a unique idea. You published such a unique study. So now everything is leveled out. Okay. So Saturn in Aries is I would say it's not a bad placement at all. Okay. No Saturn placements are bad placements. Yes, they are going to give you difficulties. That is it. Yeah, that is there. Especially if they're placed in a bad Tara, and also if they are, placed in a difficult position in the divisional charts as well. Yes, it can have some difficult, results such as bodily harm, stunted development, stunted growth, being an orphan, just growing up without anybody to support you or help you or raise you. Those kind of things Saturn does do. Yeah, accidents. Not accidents, mainly accidents is more Mars. Saturnian accidents would be, kind of like mishappenings. You twisted your ankle and now that ankle somehow doesn't heal. Okay? And it keeps coming back and it keeps pestering you. That's the Saturnian kind of accident. That's the Saturnian kind of difficulty that you can have. So Saturn will, yes, he will give you difficulties. But the thing is, if you're running from Saturn's impact, especially when Saturn is in Aries, because in the beginning you will work hard. That will be your natural tendency. You will know, I want to work hard in that area, wherever my Saturn is. I challenge this to be correct. Sit down, journal, think about which is the area of your life where you wanted to work the hardest at. There's a 90% chance that it is going to be your Saturnian placement. 10% chances it is probably going to be a Rahu placement. Because Rahu is what you are here to do in the world. Okay? But Saturn is where you are here to show the world that, look, maybe I was assigned the mountain so that I could show the world that it can be moved. Okay, so that is the energy of Saturn in Aries. It is not a bad placement. Yes, it can give you a lot of difficulties, but if you embrace what Saturn gives you in terms of the difficulties, then Saturn's not going to forget you when it's time for you to get rewarded. Okay, so this is just something that I wanted to share about my perspective on Saturn in Aries and how we should be viewing it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel so that you stay abreast of all the wonderful content that I post here, and push the bell icon so that you get notified every single time I post. Thank you so much. Take care. Hari Om.